okay, Dan Quinn's taking over the defense. How much better is it going to look? Because if it looks poor again, then it was a pointless move.
Well, I just think the defense at this point.
Because I
make
guarantee
that judgment after 1 week.
Okay, maybe. I just believe Dan Quinn approved everything Joe Witt was doing defensively because they talked to each other during games. They're in defensive meetings. There's no way Dan Quinn said, no, we're not doing that.
Right.
He said, whatever you're doing, let's do it. He approved everything.
I don't know how fixable it is when you're down 6 starters on defense.
He's the head coach.
Like, you can only do so much.
Yeah, I'm sure he approved the overall philosophy, but he listened to the calls, but he might have wanted to make different calls or have different ideas for certain coverages, and I'm sure they discussed it at times, but
they should have done it.
I feel like it's a grass.
I don't know, but that's
always.
For me, that's the storyline.
In our history, it's here in Washington, it's a Grasper move. Spurrier one time handed over the play calling.
Yeah.
It's almost like a raise the white flag. We can't do anything.
Well, it's
move
what happens when teams struggle.
Yes, move somebody from the booth to the field.
You get a new coordinator.
It's
fine.
Now, look,
but I think it makes sense. I'm glad they did it.
Look, I agree. I think a move had to be made. I just don't know if it's going to work. If they win the game 24-17, it was a great move.
Yeah,
Dan Quinn, all right, you should have been the defensive coordinator the whole year.
But even if they throw a shutout, it doesn't mean long term it's going to work. You just don't know. It's 1 week.
I know.
But I do expect them to be a little bit better, a little bit sharper.
Minor storyline, and it's kind of a Grasper storyline. We've talked about Cliff Kingsbury potentially moving on to a college job.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's going to be a hot commodity for a pro job. I've seen some of these lists, and he's not even listed in the hot coordinators anymore. But Mike McDaniel made a big deal yesterday about his connection with Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn was really pivotal in his life when he became sober.
Mm-hmm.
You might be looking at your future offensive coordinator if Mike McDaniel gets fired. There's a lot of things that have to happen. Cliff Kingsbury moves on. Mike McDaniel gets fired, which a lot of people expect. That could be your next offensive coordinator.
He's a really good coordinator. Now, he hasn't been a great head coach, but you'd love to have Mike McDaniel as your OC.
I don't think he's a terrible head coach. He's had some bad circumstances.
Okay. I mean,
what's his overall record?
I don't know.
It's probably very Dan Quinn-ish.
I don't know, but the last 2 years, it ain't good.
No. I mean, there's a reason that Stephen Ross is on the verge of firing him, seems like all the time.
Yeah.
But just for
28 and 28 is what I first see.
We had success early on, and then it's just been kind of weird.
Now, Tua has been dinged up with the concussions, but they just have not been good the last 2 years.
So, 9-8 his first year, 11-6 last year, 8-9 this year, of course.
By the way, apropos of nothing, it has nothing to do with the Skins, but what is going on? I'm missing a lot of I know A.J. Brown's been frustrated.
Yeah.
Right? He hasn't gotten the ball enough, but what else is going on personally? Because then I saw people putting out a video of Jalen Hurts, this compilation of how, he's like the godfather of one of his children. They've been best friends for 10 years, and it seems like there's a friction.
There's a rift there now.
And
he, I guess,
recently did an interview. I don't know if it was yesterday, where he was like, "Yeah, no, things ain't good," and he wants out of there. Where is that stemming from? Is that simply from not getting the ball enough?
I think he's just frustrated with his role in the offense.
It's simply from not getting the ball enough.
I think that's a big part of it.
Reading a lot of
Probably
his
the
quotes,
biggest part of it.
He also says, now he's trying to say it's not just about him catching balls. He's talking about winning. Like he wants to win, and he doesn't know that they can keep winning if the offense doesn't play better.
If the offense doesn't go through him.
I don't think it has to go through him. But he's a little weird because remember last year when they win the Super Bowl, he was reading the book on the sidelines, and he said that he'd be happy for a day.
He's a weird cat.
What do you mean he'd be happy for a day?
Like you're happy for a day that you won the Super Bowl, but then it's the next day.
Well, yeah. I think that's kind of like what Scotty Scheffler was talking about.
Yes.
You win a major, you're happy for about 15 minutes, and then you realize, all right, I got to go home, I got to feed the kids.
Similar.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny. He was quoted on a stream a couple days ago where he basically said, if you have me in a fantasy league, drop me. Was basically what he said. And he's pretty much right. Hard guy to trust.
Couple people been interviewed of late. We played those quotes from Marcus Mariota. Where he talked about you have to be honest, and I don't think we are who we think we are. I know they asked Coach Quinn about it. He kind of danced around it a little bit, didn't have a lot to say. But then Mariota was asked more. A lot of these guys, Bobby Wagner, they've been asked, what it's like, to be there in Spain, etc. Mariota was also asked how far they were from being the team they anticipated. He said, "It's a great question. I don't feel we're close." So he's being pretty honest, right? Others have been asked. Dan Quinn talked about how, like in that Kansas City game, I think he was referring to, you see a little bit. He goes, it's a step forward, but then 2 steps backwards. That's kind of what's been the theme of the season, especially with injuries. Bobby Wagner, who's been around a long time, he's kind of talking about the whole situation. Says it's frustrating. We don't want to be in this situation. We got to get a win. And then when talking about Madrid, he said, I'm sure it's a beautiful city, but who cares? We have a football game there, and that's what we're here for, to win.
I love that approach.
That's the focus you want.
If you're a fan going over to Madrid to see the Commanders, of course you care about the city and all the different sites, whatever. It's probably the trip of a lifetime. But if you're one of the players, that's a business trip.
Mm-hmm.
You fly over there, you get into your hotel, you go through your practices. You're not out there traipsing around in the city.
Well, kind of depends. Like I told you,
they might give him
18 birdies tells me that Tress Way played golf very quickly. But he's a punter, and they had a free day.
Yeah, punters and kickers are different.
But even if they're practicing here, I mean, they're not the facility 24/7.
Right.
I mean, they do have downtime.
Sure.
So in their downtime, they can go out and do whatever they want. You just wouldn't have no interest in that.
Probably
I go back to this. The season has fallen apart. They're 3-7. The simplest answer is Jaden Daniels has basically played half the time. If you compare Marcus Mariota and Jaden Daniels' work this year, all right, Jaden has 168 pass attempts. Marcus Mariota's at 110. So Jaden has played more than Marcus, but it's not that much difference.
Yeah, the only counter to that is, I think over a season you would see it play out more, but I'm not sure they'd have one more win if Jaden had been there all year.
That's fair.
The way it's played
the truth is, if you look at their rating, Jaden has only played slightly better than Marcus. His passer rating was at 94.4. Marcus is at 91.9.
I think it's been a combination. I mean, look, the fact is, and these have all been documented. We all know this. We've lived through it. But, you lose your starting defensive ends at Dietrich Wise Jr. and Dorrance Armstrong. Lattimore, whatever you want, is a physical player, torn ACL. Trey Amos, we lose him last week. Will Harris, out. Deron Payne suspended a game. Offensively, McLaurin's basically not been there all season. Austin Eckler tore his Achilles week 2. You mentioned Jaden, our superstar. He's going to miss about half the games, by the time he comes back. It just everything last year in 1-score games, we were 8-4. Okay, lost only 1 game by double digits. This year, we're 0-2 in 1-score games. We've lost 4 by double digits. In fact, by 21 or more. Not like 11 or 12, by 21 or more.
That's just embarrassing. I mean, that's why Joe Witt Jr. no longer is the DC.
We haven't been in the lead in the fourth quarter since that loss to Chicago when we fumbled that game away in week 6. So we haven't even had a lead in the fourth quarter, Cakes, in 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah, when you were talking about 1-score games, I can't even remember them. It'd be great to have a 1-score game. I mean, it's been since the Bears game. Another thing, we've talked about this the last couple weeks, they can't run the football anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of disappeared.
Is the last game they had success running the football the Chargers game? Bill went off.
Yeah.
Probably.
And I'm talking about if you eliminate the quarterback. Because when you put in the quarterback runs, it vaults him to being one of the better running teams in the NFL. And here's something to look at, because I've just noticed the last couple weeks, and Jason can speak to this more. Brian Robinson.
I know.
He's averaging, do you know what he's averaging?
7 yards a pop or something?
4.9 yards per carry. What is Bill averaging? 4.5, which is not bad. But Brian Robinson right now, in limited work,
he had 9
is averaging 4.9 yards per carry.
He had 9 for 51 last week.
Yeah, he ran better than McCaffrey last week.
Yeah.
The Bill shares are dead. I can own up to that.
All that backpatting, I'm telling you, we need a reversal.
He's done nothing over I think the last 3 games, he's like at 2.7 yards per carry. Mm-hmm. And his share of the pie is shrinking at this point because Chris Rodriguez is emerging as the top weapon in their backfield. Now, that's not great.
He's not doing
It's not a great backfield, but right now he's running the most effective of him, McNichols, and Bill. So
McNichols... Now he only has 22 carries on the year.
Yeah, he doesn't get a lot in the running game. It's
Maybe
more
he
receiving.
should get more work.
He gets more receiving work.
Yeah.
Got to give a shout out to Hogs Haven. I'm just perusing this, but I want to steal their analysis. Christian Palantonio wrote this article. What to expect with Dan Quinn taking over the Commanders' defense? Kind of speaks to what we were talking about earlier. And I guess one thing they say you can expect is a higher man coverage rate. I don't know, for better or for worse. From 21 to 23, while he was in Dallas, they ran the third highest man coverage rate in the NFL.
They also had Pro Bowl corners.
Yes. We're currently the 9th most man coverage team compared to the rest of the league. And I know that that's what Joe Witt wanted to run, but we just haven't been successful. We haven't had enough pressure.
Do they have men that can cover Achane and Waddle effectively? Because if they don't, that's a horrible strategy.
Who the starting corner? Sanders still and who this week?
I guess Noah I might get thrown in the mix, or Jones.
I think Jonathan Jones.
But isn't Jones banged up a little bit?
Yeah, but I think he's going to play. They say expect man coverage to increase with DQ taking over play calling, as Quinn's defenses are known to challenge receivers with aggressive press coverage. And that's why they say, they targeted Lattimore. He's supposedly known for that. Didn't work out here.
I don't know if that's a great strategy.
I don't know if you want to do that when you got backups to backups.
I mean,
you've got guys Hamilton might be playing a lot. Antonio Hamilton.
Yeah, I see him number 1 on the depth chart.
Yeah, you want to try and cover Waddle with Hamilton?
Well,
all right.
Waddle and Achane are both super explosive. And I would
Hamilton and Jones.
Here's another one. They say expect more creative fronts / exotic blitz packages. That's what I've been asking for weeks. I've been asking for that.
But they've tried all that.
Well, hey, maybe they can rattle Tua. Tua's not the greatest with press.
If you remember, DQ was asked a few weeks ago, and it was one of the rare times he sort of openly, I think inadvertently, criticized Witt when he said he expected more stunts. Remember, he said that after a game. He expected to see a little more
I heard
stunts.
him say that, and I don't get it. When you're the head coach, you go to Witt and say, I want to do this. Mm-hmm. Let's do it.
Yeah, but I guess during the flow of the game, sometimes you got to give them some autonomy. A little bit. You can't oversee every single detail, right?
Well, if you're the head coach, you call the shots. You have the final call. If you don't like the way someone's game planning your defense, you change it.
Well, that's what he did.
Yep.
I know, but he should have done it weeks ago.
They just put up 30 on Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
With Hamilton and Jones as your starting corners.
On paper, doesn't look great.
No.
And then the last thing is, will Dan Quinn find a better way to utilize Frankie Louvu than Joe Witt has so far this year? Louvu maybe flashing a little bit more of late, but obviously was much better last year. And they kind of compare him. Can he be their Micah Parsons?
Right.
Which they're always asking for. Which, by the way, remember I said they were going to try Jamin Davis in that role? Jamin Davis, I believe, did get signed off the practice squad.
Oh, he did?
Yes.
By who?
I can find that for you, but I just...
All right, you can look that up. We need to take a break. When we come back, we'll take a look around the NFL.
Baldy.
Brian Baldinger, Odyssey's NFL insider. He'll join us next.